Dear viewers, Pakistan People's Party Chairman and former Foreign Minister of Pakistan, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, has unnecessarily added to the controversy that he generated a few days ago by expressing Pakistan's openness to extraditing the individuals of concern to India, including Hafiz Saeed and Azhar Masood. The interview that he gave to Karan Thapar of India hardly 10 hours ago was a disaster insofar as Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's own image is concerned. I tried to explain the reasons behind his failure to send or to successfully send his message across in the latter half of this video clip. First, we look at the excerpts, some of the excerpts of the interview.
Question, the key focus of this interview. Why does Pakistan permit groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Jaish-e-Mohammed to periodically carry out terror attacks on India? It's been going on for 3 decades.
Thank you so much for having me, Karan. I really appreciate this opportunity, not only to speak to you, but through you to the people of India. As far as your question is concerned and the way that you phrased it, obviously I will disagree. Pakistan does not willingly permit the groups you mentioned or any group to conduct terrorist attacks outside of Pakistan, but also within Pakistan. We have, as you're well aware, faced the brunt of terrorism over the past many decades. Pakistan is fighting and has been fighting the largest inland war against terrorism. We've lost 92,000 lives altogether. Just last year, we lost more than 1,200 civilian lives in more than 200 different terrorist attacks. At the rate at which terrorist attacks are taking place just this year alone, if they continue at this pace, this year will be the bloodiest year in Pakistan's history. I too am a victim of terrorism. I feel the pain of the victims of the Pahalgam terrorist attack. I understand the trauma that their families are experiencing in a way more than many others can ever imagine.
I hear your answer, Mr. Bhutto Zardari. Let me, in response, quote General Musharraf, your country's former army chief, your country's former president. This is what he said to Dunya News, a Pakistani channel, on the 25th of October 2015. Speaking about the Lashkar-e-Taiba, he said, we supported them and trained them as they were fighting in Kashmir. Hafiz Saeed and Lakhvi were our heroes. And 4 months later, this is exactly what he said to India today on the 11th of February 2016. Inter-services intelligence trains Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba, and then he added, terror attacks will continue until India addresses the Kashmir issue. This is your country's former army chief and former president confirming that the Pakistani state is involved in terror against India.
I don't need to rehash with you my views on the former dictator, Pervez Musharraf. Suffice to say, as far as the history of terrorist groups in my region, LEJ and LET are one or two of them. There are other such terrorist groups where Pakistan had a policy as a result of the Cold War to support what at the time one perceived as terrorists or called terrorists. That word came about after 9/11. Before then, such groups were seen as freedom fighters. While the government, for example, in the context of Afghanistan and while fighting in the context of the Cold War, supported such groups within Afghanistan. Even at that time, mine and my mother's and my party's position was against this thought process.
No, forgive me, I don't like interrupting you because it's not kind to interrupt you. But
allow me to finish. I'll get to the point. Allow me to put the history. Orchestrated the jihadification of Pakistan as a society. so that we could fight their war in the context of Afghanistan.
But just a moment, it's not in the context of Afghanistan. That's what I keep disputing.
I'm getting to that, यार आप मुझे बात करने दे, मैं उस पे पहुंचूंगा जरूर। चलिए आप फैसला करें ना, मेरे सवाल के जवाब क्या है, मैं वही कह दूंगा।
मैं आपके सवाल के जवाब नहीं आपको बता रहा, मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि you keep insisting it was in the context of Afghanistan, and I'm pointing out to you
it is, that's the root,
in the context of India.
I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that, भाई आप मुझे बात करने दे। I promise you, आपको अपना जो आप चाह रहे हो मुझसे सुनना, वो मैं उसी पे आ रहा हूं।
जी बताइए।
I'm just explaining the root कि कहां से आया, हम आज तक क्यों सफर कर रहे हैं, ना सिर्फ LET और LEJ के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, मगर मेला मुल्क में, TTP के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, अलकायदा के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, दाइश के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, BLA के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, ये तमाम this entire issue of terrorism that we are facing in the subcontinent today is a direct result of what happened in Afghanistan. And I'm going to explain to you why. All these groups, whether it's Al-Qaeda, whether it is these groups that you have mentioned, they trace their past to the Afghan Jihad. Once the Afghan Jihad was over, some groups decided that they were going to set up shop in Al-Qaeda and attack 9/11. Other groups decided that they were going to wage the Afghan Jihad.
You keep talking about the Afghan Jihad. I'm actually asking you to focus on Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar.
Allow me, please.
India. Let me finish, and then you answer. Let me finish. This is what.
Allow me to finish, then I will allow you to ask your next question. Otherwise, I will get up and go. The point is that they started in Afghanistan. They started in Afghanistan. They then splintered off into Al-Qaeda and other groups, including those groups that went on to call the Kashmir Jihad. In that context, obviously, there were those in Pakistan's society, in Pakistan's politics, that did not oppose such groups.
So you do accept that Pakistani groups funded and trained by the ISI were attacking India and Kashmir? You do accept that then?
Dear viewers, she must have noticed that Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has repeatedly thanked the host, Karan Thapar, who is widely known for his highly praiseworthy approach to the profession, which is strongly characterized by the cardinal principles of journalism, including fairness, objectivity, and accountability, for affording him an opportunity to reach out to the people of India in order to explain to them his vision for a peaceful and prosperous region. But Bilawal Bhutto Zardari had no idea that Karan Thapar, the host, had set a trap for him, and he, unfortunately, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, fell into it.
I've answered for the entire course of this interview, whatever you've asked me.
Not one person.
Now, but
you former army chief.
I've answered every question.
President has told TV in your own country, we supported.
I just want to tell the people of India that they must avoid disinformation, hate mongers. It is easy for this generation to talk about war and tell you that every Pakistani is a terrorist. Every Pakistani is your enemy. That is not true. We want peace. We can talk together and sort out all our issues. There are people like this sitting on the screen who will always push you towards hate, who will always say that we are your enemies. But I don't believe that the people of India and the people of Pakistan are destined to be enemies. I don't want to damn the people of India and the people of Pakistan, not very least the next generation, to fight generation after generation over Kashmir, to fight generation over terrorism, and to fight now generation over water. I am a victim of terrorism. I want to see an end to terrorism. The Indus Water Treaty, just the threat of cutting off the Indus Water Treaty is a violation of the UN Security Council. It's a violation of international law. Let's save the Indus Valley civilization. let's save the
those who
Sindhu.
level their terrors
Let's
against
save
India.
the Sindhu River.
I
Let's
thank you,
defeat
Mr. Zardari,
terrorism.
for the time you've given me. I thank you for having listened to my questions. I thank you for having exceeded the allotted 35 minutes by 8 more so that we could complete this interview. Take care.
Thank you so much, Karan.
In my view, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari ought to have left the program in order to register his protest against the unwarranted, absolutely unwarranted and uncalled for interjections by the host, Karan Thapar. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari must not have allowed him to grill the former Foreign Minister of Pakistan for as many as 35 minutes. Many as about Sarfraz Ahmad. Ya rabote de vegeta. Karachi, Pakistan, and Sarfaz Mandai Presultari Frigida, Karachi, Pakistan.